Hello, guys, and welcome to another stream. Obviously, you're not all good because of what's just happened, but we are joined here by a wonderful panel: Carlito, Alfred, Sindra, KJ. How are you guys doing? We are joined here by a wonderful panel. Carlito is clearly watching the video back. How are you guys doing? Before we get into the ranting, which I know we are going to do, I do want to say something first. I would like to thank Manchester City for that amazing tribute to Gianluca Vialli, because that, out of all the negatives, was a fantastic tribute for a great man, a Chelsea player that deserves to be a legend, unlike 110% of this player's step on the pitch right now. So it was a fantastic tribute, and rest in peace to what was a wonderful man, a wonderful manager, wonderful player. And yeah, that is where I'm going to leave it, because, well, unless you guys want to say anything about that before we start.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, games like this, you're paying tribute to someone who's died. He's never coming back, right? Someone that gave a lot for the shirt, and you betrayed him today. You betrayed him with that effort today. You really did. I mean, I don't want to be too hyperbolic about this, but it was the worst performance I think I've ever seen. And I'm not even kidding, dude. I've watched thousands of games. I've coached thousands of games. I've played thousands of games, and that is by far the worst performance I've ever seen, ever. And on Gianluca Day of all days.
Sorry to interrupt you there, because there was. But would you say it was worse than the 6-0 defeat to City?
Yes, because the effort was worse.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else got anything to say before we go into the negatives, or?
Okay. Sorry, Joe, you want
to No. I don't have anything to say because I'm actually speechless with how terrible we were. But go ahead, Alfred. You can talk.
Okay. Well, I'm after what I'm about to say. I'm not suggesting that it would have otherwise been an incredible performance, or the result would have necessarily been different. But I do kind of think that we were kind of victims of circumstance in this game.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that for a period, it looked like it was going to be a nice, tight, potentially interesting game. And then we give away a free kick, and of course, it just has to fucking go. So, just a little sucker punch there, which is obviously going to screw your mentality over massively. Then a handball to give away a penalty, 2-0. What the fuck can you do? At that point, against potentially one was the best team in the world in some people's eyes, your mentality is just going to go to shit, especially with all the young players out there. And I think that's where the performance in this game was just always going to be terrible. I mean, I still think obviously that we showed more fight, but I do think those two incidents fairly early on in the game just destroyed us, and I believe that they were the reasons why this game was a lot worse. Sorry, the performance was a lot worse than it could have been. So, yeah.
Okay.
Boys, personally, for me, the 6-0 City was by far worse than this, mainly because of two reasons. One, the players actually gave up. They walked around, they watched players pass around them. I mean, a player as good as Fabregas just allowed players to dribble him, and he was not responsive. That's how bad that game was. And number two, the coach also visibly gave up. In this game, at least the players were running around. At least they tried to get the ball, at least to try to make plays. But the key difference is these players were lost. They were lost as hell. They didn't know what to do when they had the ball in position. They didn't know how to break up play. They didn't know how to simple things, 1-2 triangles. everything that's basic about football was gone. And that's disgraceful. This game is definitely top 3 worst games of all time in Chelsea history. There's no doubt about that. But we need to really be honest with ourselves and really pick apart why it looks like this club is so unmotivated, so bad at playing football. And bear in mind, these aren't bad players. Any other manager in the world would take these players onto their team. But we need to be so brutally honest about not just the players, but everything surrounding the club, because this is disgraceful. This is shameful. This is almost as bad as a championship. This was literally a championship side performance on their worst day. And this is Chelsea Football Club. This is the top 6 club, a top 4 club, if we're being honest. 2 years ago, we were the best club in the world. And now we're arguably the worst club in England. And it looks so sad to watch. So we need to be honest, boys. We need to be honest. We can't make excuses for plays anymore. We gotta be honest.
You have to be. You have to be. Oh, Mason Mount completed 7 passes today. 7 passes. Rodri completed 7 passes in 1 minute. You got to be kidding me with this shit. All you fucking European guys gassing this player up like he's the next Frank Lampard. That is ridiculous. Conor Gallagher should not be on this team. Hakim Ziyech, another one. All these stupid Chelsea fans are like, Potter's got to give him a second chance. Potter's got to give him a second chance. Are you kidding me? He's the same player he was before. You people are just guilty of being prisoner of the moment. Mason Mount, awful. Conor Gallagher, awful. Hakim Ziyech, awful. Kai Havertz today, awful. This kid, Humphreys, what the fuck was he doing out there? He's terrible too. It was a really, really, really bad lineup by Potter. He set these players up to fail. He set them up to fail.
Yeah. And also Chalaba at right back doesn't work. And I know, at least in my opinion, I thought about this today when I saw the lineup and stuff. If there's one player that we actually kept and didn't send out alone, I know he's the best player. It is Dusan Sterling, because at least he is a right back. He can play there. He's probably better than Aspilicueta and every other player who can play at the right back position. And he would at least give Reece James cover, and he could develop under Tuchel and Sarri, and then be a understudy to Reece James if Reece James gets injured, because we don't have a right back and we need one. Like, we can't play a centre back at right back because Chalaba struggled early on with Foden. Like, we struggle when we don't have our best players on the field, and we can see that today. We need at least a new right back. Show that we don't play a centre back at right back again.
Okay, well, the guy's available from Celtic, 12 million. Why are we not doing it right now? Why? What's the point of waiting? So we can lose more games?
Because we're spending ridiculous money on more centre backs we don't need.
We currently have 6 forwards in this club. If the plan is to play a 4-3-3, we've potentially got 6 number nines on our hand. Bear in mind, these 9s, not all of them are guaranteed to stay at the club, but if they happen to stay at the club, we have to rotate between 6 of them. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, what is the setup? What is the setup in the squad? Where do we go from here? That is blowing my mind. What is the actual structure of this club and the tactical setup that Graham Potter's trying to do? Because I have no words. I don't have any answers for that. Someone has to coach me on this.
I don't know either, because you're playing 3 players that are basically the same player in the middle of the park. He was playing a 4-2-3-1 kind of, but Jorginho looks so old that he shouldn't be on this team anymore either. And you got Mount, Gallagher, and Ziyech, and they're all playing together. They're all the same player. They're all the same player. It's an unbelievable redundancy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the announcers, right when the game started, they're like, yeah, they're playing 3 number 10s. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? We're playing so narrow. Now, look, I'll say Potter got it wrong by the lineup and his stuff, but But KJ, look, people need to stop just blaming the manager. You have to hold these players accountable.
Yes.
Because they are the ones that are doing it, dude. This tired trope that fans say, "Oh, you know what the solution is? To fire the manager. It's to fire the fucking manager. Fire the manager. Fire the players. Fire some of these players. Why are we even considering keeping Mason Mount? Why do we have Conor Gallagher on this team? It sounds like these guys are listening to the fans, but don't listen to the fans because they're stupid."
Yeah.
They're fans. It's not their job to know this game. It's their job to drink beer.
We say that, but the manager week in, week out starts Mount. He starts habits. He picks this team. He knows his best players.
Yes,
we can see what our best
KJ, Tuchel started these same players. Lampard started these same. Who says that bringing in a new manager, this is not going to be the same? Because it has been the same. People wanted Tuchel out. Tuchel's gone. We've got worse. The last 4 or 5 managers, we've been exactly the same because it's the players. No one wants to take accountability and look at it and go, look, the players are poor. No one. It's always, let's change the manager, let's change the manager. What do we want? A new manager every 3 months, 4 managers a year, and it not work, and us to continue to get worse. We have been on the edge of a cliff for years and years and years. We've been pulled off by the occasional 7-game run in the Champions League, which isn't hard to do, to play well in 7 games and win a cup. It really isn't. What's hard is to play 38 games good and win a league. And we haven't done that for years. We have continuously got worse and worse and worse. We have not been, for me, a stable team since 14-15 with Mourinho. We had 15-16, which went... We then got Conte, who did well in a league, but without Champions League football, playing once a week, that was unstable, that flopped. And since then, we have got systematically worse, worse, and worse in this league. We have not, and it's down to a board, the exact same board, by the way, that these idiot, drunk, fool, probably high on cocaine and all that, matchday fans that were singing for, I'm not going to say the word that I said in the chat, but someone that's been taken away from this club because of his outer goings in his private life. They're idiots. These fans are absolute fucking idiots. And this is why I said in the tweet, I'm glad these fans don't go to King's Medal to watch the women's, because I don't want them in this team. We have the worst fan base. We have the worst players. We have the worst matchday fans. This club deserves the shit it gets at the moment because we are absolutely awful. We stink.
I don't really want to
blame the 2 newest people, as in Bowley and Potter, basically in the club in terms of big figures. The problem has been going on for years, and systematically, fans have not taken to the point that our club has been mismanaged and poorly run for years. But let's just blame the American because that's the easiest thing to do, and that's the trendy thing to do at the moment is to blame the Americans. Blame Potter because he's not a manager, even though all these fans that are now blaming Potter was talking about how wonderful he was at Brighton, how of a tactical genius he was at Brighton. But now he's here. Let's just criticize him and just ruin him.
Yeah, and also
absolutely ridiculous. The brain function of some of these fans. A lot of our fans, actually. It's not even just a minority. It's a majority of our fans.
It's a majority.
It's stupid. Honestly, I can't take it. It pains me to watch it at the moment because I don't see identity in this club anymore.
Sorry, Matt. Here's my thing about Potter, and I said this since day one. This has always been his level at Brighton. I don't know who in their right mind, I don't know which contingency of the fan base said he was a tactical genius, but that narrative is so false. He was so inconsistent at Brighton, and people didn't clock that. They only saw the success he took Brighton to. But if you look at Brighton, if you look at him and his statistics when he was in charge, his loss percentage is way greater than his win percentage. He's so inconsistent as a manager, and I said this since day one. He's not going to elevate Chelsea to the place where we need to be. Maybe he might transform the club and make it a bit more stable. Yes, we're playing fast, fluid football, amazing, but you can clearly see the same problems are there, and he's not the manager to do that, which is why I've never been Potter in, and I'll continue to say I won't be Potter in, because I don't believe he's the manager that can take us to that place where we need to go. And that's no offense to him. I'm sure he's a great guy. And I love the fact that he's taking care of the players. But you can clearly see the outward effects. These players are so comfortable being shit. These players are so comfortable giving up during games. These players are so comfortable looking to their teammates and not yelling at them, not telling them, what are you doing? They're so comfortable with just being themselves. And that's the problem right now that we're facing in this club. The identity is so flaccid, it's so dead that these players don't really care about losing. These players are going to go home to their $1 million houses and not really care. Because at the end of the day, they're getting paid so much to play like shit. It's normal for them now. It's normal. When Sterling first came in this club, his first 3 games were amazing. You saw the philosophy that Pep installed in him. And now fans are saying he's shit and we need to move him on. What is that?
He's not shit. That's just fans being idiots.
Not shit.
But that's the thing. That's the thing I'm saying. We're only reacting to what we're seeing. And what we're seeing is players that aren't playing at the standard that we signed them at. And that is the biggest problem here. So it's number one, culture thing. Number two, it's how these players are being managed. And that's why I always say it leads back to the manager. If these players can't get inspired to play in games, then what can a captain do? What can a manager do? What can the vice captain do? What can anybody do for these players? Because now it's becoming a psychological thing. They're happy being shit. And we can see it right now. We can see it. It's in front of our eyes. No world-class player is going to change this team. No set of players is going to change this team. It's not going to happen because we're going to run into the same problems again. And that's what people aren't understanding.
I got to say this. Now, look, I don't want to self-flagellate and wallow in misery because I'm a pretty happy dude in general. But I have to say, this was coming for a long time, and it's deserved. It's deserved because this fan base sucks. It's like the difference, the dichotomy between this fan base and Real Salt Lake's fan base, which is my other club, the difference is unbelievable. There's no ego in RSL. I like the team more than Chelsea, and nobody feels entitled to anything. It's you have to earn everything, and this fan base and this team and players like Mason Mount, they feel entitled to everything. They feel like top 4 is a given, and it's the bare minimum. It's like, dude, I not only am I just exhausted watching this team, I'm really sick of watching this team, but these guys need to be punished. They need to be punished. If this was my team and I'm Graham Potter, tomorrow they're not touching a ball. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, and I don't care if they're professionals, they're not above being punished. If tomorrow I would run them into the motherfucking ground. And then I would strip the captaincy from Aspi, and I would consider selling some players to make a statement. You want a shock to the system? You sell a couple players in January, and you let people know it will not be tolerated here. You sell Mason Mount to Liverpool. You sell Hakim Ziyech to AC Milan, and you do it now. You want a shock to the system? You want to turn this around? You do something fucking drastic.
And we have to. Because we are at a point where it's the only thing we can do now. We need massive changes because how much longer can this keep going? This is fucking ridiculous. It's embarrassing, man.
And with sacking Potter, all you're doing to these players is giving them another. You're saying that again, these players, it's all right for them to be shit because the manager will always fall before you.
Yeah.
It's happened again and again and again. And these players don't feel threatened because they won't go because it's always the manager that will go first. And it could always be blamed on the manager. And it's the repeat cycle. We need... I said in the summer, and people called me pessimistic. I said it was going to be a long, hard season. Because we were so behind with the whole sale of the club. Summer was ruined in terms of actual planning for the summer, and we had so many board members leaving and coming in. That structure of the club really throws the club off. So I was prepared for it to be a terrible, terrible season. But unfortunately, our fans don't have the mentality, do not have the bottle, and do not have any idea what it's like to just be in a bit of a hard time and hold it out. I mean, going to the women's team, which is a very successful team at the moment. Emma Hayes didn't win anything for 3 years. If Emma Hayes was in the Chelsea men's team right now, or if these match day fans that go to Stamford Bridge were at Kings Meadow, they'd be calling for Emma Hayes' sack, and she wouldn't have never got 3 years, and she would have never built this project, because our fans are, as Carlita put it exactly, they're entitled, they're privileged, absolute morons.
Yeah.
That all they expect to is win everything every time. You don't win everything every time. Football is a game of cycles. Some clubs go up and other clubs go down. We've been waiting to go down for a long time because our club has been mismanaged. And I've said it multiple times. Not enough people called out the mistakes of the board last time. But suddenly so many people want to call the mistakes out of this board, or supposedly mistakes. I think we've got the right idea. Whether Potter is the right man, I don't know. I think he's not been given a chance, because he's not even had a window to even look to bring his players in yet.
To move on.
He handled, as Alfred said, the complete shambles of an injury crisis that we've got, which is, some of it is down to luck, because some's an impact injury sometimes is an impact injury. If you twist in the wrong situation, if your leg joint twists in the wrong situation and you get a tackle, you're going to get injured no matter who you are. Some are muscle injuries that maybe it's certain players, but that is the problem. I just don't see any manager you bring in right now changes this situation massively. The problem is you have at least 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 players that do not deserve to be in this team. That do not deserve to be in this team.
And it starts with the captain, by the way.
It does. It starts from the top. You've got to get rid of these players. And the one thing I will blame Potter at the moment is I would like Potter to trust some of the good younger players a bit more.
Carney.
Start your Carneys, etc. Because again, Carney coming on, played real. Zakaria, I understand Zakaria has gone from absolute no minutes at all to loads of minutes. And I understand Thursday to Sunday at the moment, when he's not actually played a lot, you don't want to overload him and him get an injury, because considering he's played it. So I understand that with Silva and Zakaria not being able to play. That is probably from the fitness side. They've probably said he's in the red zone, whatever that's the new word they like to use. But you've got to play some of these young players. And Hutchinson, again, first few minutes, he looked a bit safe and didn't want to play it safe. But eventually, when he got into it, he actually started playing very well towards the end. Fofana didn't really get any service. Don't really want to judge that performance on it. But play these young players. Don't play the same old shit. But I can understand sometimes under pressure, every manager we've had has resulted to playing the same players, playing the safety players, or the safety players in terms of the Mason Mounts and that, or the fan base will just jizz over every time he starts, because he's the glue, even though he can only make 7 passes in a fucking game. Ridiculous. We do need to go through pain, because this has been coming, as I said, we've been on the cliff edge for so long.
Yeah.
And we have fallen off it. Now we've got to climb back up. But it takes time to climb up. Sometimes you'll climb up a little bit and sometimes you have to take 1 step forward and then take 2 steps back. It happens. And it's an unfortunate thing we have to do, but it is the reality. People need to wake up to this situation. They do need to wake up. And for Wally,
I know you've all been talking, and I've listened carefully to everyone, but I've got of my opinion, and it's something what bothers me, and it's because I've been Chelsea fan for 30 odd years now. And today with Vialli, there's a poignant thing for me today. Now, before the Abramovich era started, and Vialli was part of the Chelsea squad, we be lucky for an FA Cup one if we own Cup one. In the Premier League, we was always fighting for the top 6 if we was lucky, and we never won we never expected to win titles or anything. And if we did win a cup, it was amazing, because we never expected to win a thing. And we had managers come in, like Ranieri, who was a tinker man, and he made changes each and every week, and he didn't kept a settled side. And you've got players. If you've never, there was never a player in that team that was guaranteed a spot, even Zola. No one was guaranteed a spot each and every week, every game. Everyone had to play for their positions, and you can see that in the train sessions where you go training, and you can see it, and you saw it in the team games. Unfortunately, now in this day and age, a lot of the fan base, like you said, are very entitled because they think we should win every game, win every tournament, win every league, because they believe that is the Chelsea way. When it isn't. It isn't the Chelsea way. It's Chelsea's always been about passion, and it's always been about the fans, and it always has been like that. And if you're a true Chelsea fan, you'll know that. And I think all us on here are the true Chelsea fans. But what bothers me is with everything that's going on at the moment, I'm similar to Matt. I didn't expect us to do brilliantly this year, but I didn't think we'd do this bad. But looking at how it's all failed the last couple of months, we haven't had the best of luck of injuries, but that's just an excuse. But Potter's supposed to come in and make it his own team. I haven't seen him make it his own team. He's, like we've said, Scapegoats is still a captain. You look at Arteta, he's come in, and what did he do? Stripped captaincy off of Bang, stripped it from, can't remember his name, in Graham Xhaka, and he gave it to Odegaard, and look at how good Odegaard's been as a captain. And why are we, and look at what Ten Hag's done. He stripped Harry Maguire of the captaincy, and comes in, is Bruno Fernandes, and at the moment Bruno Fernandes is doing brilliantly as a captain for Man United. What is wrong with us saying, hang on, let's strip our captain, that's brilliant what he's done for us. He's been served this club for a long time, he's done really well, but we need fresh blood, we need a new captain, we need a new philosophy. He can come in and do and change it. And then we talk about changing the formation, but he's gone and changed the formation into a more. We're not as productive as we used to be when it comes to the forward line. We're not creating the opportunities. We're not giving the players the opportunities in the forward line. And certain players need to do better that haven't done better. Like we've mentioned Mount, we've mentioned Ziyech, we've mentioned Gallagher. There's other players as well. And finally, there's certain players that are getting opportunities like Zakaria, Hall, that I think deserve more opportunities. And we're saying about youngsters, like I was shocked to see Kylie not starting today.
Yeah.
From how he played on Thursday, I thought he was the first name on that sheet. So I think it is to do with the players, it's to do with the manager, it's to do with. I think there's not enough trust in the whole club at the moment. I don't think no one trusts each other. I think there's a lot of. I don't think the players trust the manager. I don't think the manager trusts the players. I don't think the owner trusts the players. I don't think the owner trusts the manager completely, because there's too much negativity going on at the moment. And then the fans are making it worse because, like we said, some of the fans are coming on and saying stupid, silly things, what are just out of the world stupidity. And some of the fans who are white, should be speaking up, are just sitting there quietly and saying nothing. So I think at the moment, in the whole thing from top to bottom is mess, Chelsea are. And for today, we've seen what Vialli and what he's done for the club, and I hate to say it, but he's probably turning over in his grave thinking, what has happened to my club? And that hurts me. Hurts me more than anything. Because he would have been embarrassed by what we did today.
Well, I mean, you got to look at the the consistency in our decline, right? What has been the consistent part of our team since we've been declining in the past couple of years? Number one has been Aspi is the captain. He should not be at this club. Number two, Mason Mount has been made the name and face of the franchise. Okay? They have prioritized him, and because of that, because of the marketing around this team, I feel like Potter feels like he's obligated to play him. And if you just went on merit, Carney, Zachariah, those guys should have been, like you said, the first names on the sheet. Absolutely, they should have played. But something got in the way of that, and that is that the face of the franchise is no longer injured. And that is a major, major problem. And then to couple that with the fact that you also play Conor Gallagher, who is simply not good enough. Like he is just not good enough to play for Chelsea. And you're playing those two together, the two moron twins together. It's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. And on top of that, you play in a kid like Humphreys. I mean, Graham Potter, again, I don't want to be that negative about the manager because I hate these players, but did you not take this challenge seriously? This was one of the only things that we were going to win this year, and he kind of betrayed the moment by playing a player like Humphreys, like starting Lewis Hall, and just having three of the same exact player in midfield. Like he kind of betrayed the moment. Now, I'm not going to make this all about Potter because at the end of the day, it's the players that play, and a lot of fans don't seem to want to admit that the players are at fault. It's become this new thing with younger fans where they want to empower the players, and the players are always right, and you shouldn't be criticizing the players because they're human beings and all this bullshit. Dog, they make $200,000 a week. There's nothing normal and human being about the amount of money they make and the amount of privilege that they deserve every day. No, not deserve, but that they experience.
Yeah.
These guys, dude, these guys are so pampered. They get the best chefs. They have any woman they want at the flick of a dial. Anything that they want, they get. And all that we expect them to do is try. Okay? And I'm sorry. You need to start selling some of these players. If for no other reason than to really shock the system of this team, because this team is like a bear in hibernation. It's just sort of idly strolling by, not doing anything, just being complacent as fuck. You guys, we have to do something drastic.
Yeah.
Potter has to do something drastic, or guess what? He's going to ruin his reputation, and he will get fired, and he shouldn't, because no manager can fix this right now, what's going on. You have to shock the system, and you have to wake these players up, and you got to do something drastic. I mean, I keep saying it, but we have to. You have to.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, two good examples of clubs that have done something drastic and sold a lot of players is a team that we have made, at least I know the fan base have made fun of for so many years, is Arsenal, who are now top of the league, having a really good rebuild. And what did they always say when we made fun of them? Trust the process under Arteta. He had made some drastic changes and made some shocking events in the dressing room. For example, dropping Aubameyang, selling him to, or letting him go to Barcelona, taking the captaincy away from him and Xhaka, and then it's Liverpool on a club who have had a fantastic transformation. Of course, are a little bit on the downfall because they have kind of done what we've done now. Have stuck with a core of players for so many years and haven't really made changes, especially in the midfield and defense. Only place they've actually made purchases is in the front line, which, in my opinion, was the least stressed part to rebuild with Mane, Firmino, and Salah. That could have gone on for maybe 1 or 2 years, but they have not invested in a midfielder or defenders. And now I agree with, we need to make something drastic. We need to sell some of these players to make something happen. Like, we have seen that sacking a manager now doesn't affect the performance of the team. Maybe for 1 or 2 games, but in general, the players are too comfortable in their positions, and something needs to happen. This is not good enough for a team, as you say, like a team like Chelsea. But we have gotten, because of how well we've done in the past, we have gotten too high standards, in my opinion, of what we expect from, or what we deserve from the Premier League, and that's not good.
Bro, Sindre, honestly, I agree with everything you said. But for me, this is what Potter needs to do, because at this time, in this moment, he should know his best 11. He should know tactically how he wants to set up, and he should know how he wants to run this team. He's had enough time to observe this team and to know the landscape of Chelsea in this moment. It's a January transfer window. We should not be linked with players like Marcus Thuram. We should be
Thank
linked
you.
with clubs that are willing to take on players. That should be the first step. Getting rid of redundancy, like Carlito just said. We can't have 10 players in one position. It makes no sense for this club. How can you progress as a club if we have so many players that play in one position? We're devaluing the players and we're devaluing the state of this club. We need to move on players now. We got that's the first thing. We shouldn't even be linked to high-profile players anymore because they're not going to fix the club. We need to move on so many players. Once we're done with that, Graham Potter needs to say, A, B, and C, and D, this is my philosophy. This is how I want to change the club. And then sign good players. If I see we sign players like Marcus Thuram, you can't expect me and a lot of the other players or fans in this club, to have faith in the manager. Because what is he doing? What is he doing signing players like that? That's like a short-term fix. It's not even a fix. It's just adding to the problem. So for me personally, if I'm Potter, because honestly speaking, right now, if Carlito, if Sindre, if Sadiq knows our best 11, if we can sit week in, week out and say, this player is good here, this player is good here, this player is good here, then there should be no excuse for Potter to not be playing our strongest 11 now. We know, and unfortunately, yes, there is injuries in the club, it's fine, but even when those players were fit and were able to play, he failed to consistently play our strong 11. He's rotated so many players in and out trying to find our best 11. And at this stage, that is very worrying for the manager. And I get it. He might not have the players he needs right now, and that's what this transfer window is for. But right now, there should be no excuses. From this point going forward, from January going forward to the end of the season, there has to be improvements now. I don't expect them to be drastic. I really don't. But I expect to see some improvements. I expect to finally see a shot on target. Do you know how poor that is, that our standards have dropped this low, that we can't even expect our players to get a shot on target anymore? That is football basics. Carlito, you're a coach. You should know this. Your objectives, they're short-term objectives, and we're not even reaching the short-term objectives. We're just going on the pitch for the matter of surviving right now, and it doesn't make any sense.
KJ, I mean, like you saw when the players would receive the ball, right? Like when we would win the ball and the players would receive the ball and they're going from the middle third to the final third. How many times did you see a player looking for two options and none were there? Okay. One of the things that Man City does better than anyone else is that they press in threes and they show in twos.
Mm-hmm.
So when they don't have the ball, they will press with three people. Pep Guardiola was doing that at Barcelona. Okay, he learned that from his mentor, Cruyff. All right, you press in three, and that is why it always seems like they have 15 players on the field and we only have 11. Because he manufactures odds in 15-yard windows. Okay, so when they lose the ball, he's pressuring in three, and everybody does it. Everybody does it, or you will not play. And then when they have the ball, there is always two options. So Rodri receives the ball. He probably has a vertical option of someone checking in, and then he has a side option of someone that's always open. Okay? And the reason is because all of these players move off the ball, and they all move off the ball in unison. And again today, a guy receives the ball in the middle of the final third. No one is showing. He is isolated. How many times in the first half did the announcers say Kai Havertz is isolated? Kai Havertz is isolated. It's because no one was showing to help him. No one was moving to help him. That's not an intelligence thing. That's an effort thing. That is an effort thing. It is a choice to show for the ball. It is a choice to press in threes. It is a choice to show in twos. And they just weren't doing it. And that's not on Potter. That is on the players. That is on the players because they're the ones playing. And it is a cheap argument to blame the manager, okay? Because I was a coach and I was a player. And guess what? I know when you're culpable and when you're not. And today, man, the lineup sucked, but it doesn't matter, dude. You still have to make all these little micro choices on the field to show it in twos and to press in threes, and they just weren't doing it. These guys, when they receive a ball, there'd be no options. And you can't do that against a team like City, who's the best at this.
And you know what? And you know what's very telling about this game? We've played City now in the space of 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. And you can see the tactical change up and switch that Pep did to ensure that Chelsea would just phase out of this game. When we had the ball, it was always 1v3. When the players got overloaded, they didn't know what to do with the ball. It always ended up going either back or going out or just being repossessed by City. And that's the tactical difference between those two squads. And that's why I feel Graham Potter just got it absolutely wrong today. And you know what? You can't blame the players because clearly there was no desire within the players. If the manager can't inspire you, then surely at 1-0 down when you're playing like complete butt, you need to inspire yourself. You need to be like, hold on. There's no way that that Jorginho should be playing this bad. You got to tell him. You got to look him in the eye and say, bro, fix up. You have to have desire to chase down the ball. You have to have desire to come and receive a pass. Those simple things were non-existent. Yeah. And if the players can't feel the desire within themselves, then what does that tell you? That's why fans are arguing and they don't know what's going on with this club and this team. Because clearly, if the players don't know, then how can we fix the problem? How can we address it? And that's the big issue.
Good evening. Good evening. I thought, you know what? Let me just listen to everyone rant today. I just want to say a few things very quickly. Thank you everyone that's tuned in. Like the video as always. I know Sindra needs to go. Sindra, take care.
Yeah,
Colito, you need to go soon as well.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Don't
forget to like and subscribe to everyone who's tuned in, and I'm going to see you guys hopefully on next stream. So
soon.
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
Take care, man. Take care. I want to say a few things quickly. I've been saying half of the squad need to go. I think more than half the squad need to go now. It wasn't this bad when we had Werner. I just want to say that as well. Werner, who was, not amazing. Morata, I didn't see it this bad. Willian, I didn't see it this bad. These players that we used to kind of want out eventually were not this bad. Okay, this is really, really bad now. I saw some decent play.
I think those are all players that put in effort.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, look, I saw Chelsea play football today, like couple 1-2s, and then Mount can't run with the ball. I just don't understand what is going on with these players. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
Because he's not good enough.
It could be that, or he just doesn't want to play for the manager either, or he wants to leave.
I'm sorry. Look, again, not want to play for the manager, dog. You're not playing for the manager. You're playing for the club.
But these guys don't care for the club.
Yeah, and look, Sadiq, again, telling you, there needs to be something drastic like selling Mount. Okay? Because nothing else that's subtle will do. Nothing else that's subtle will do. Okay? Sometimes you just have to do something drastic. If you want an appropriate response, you have to do something drastic. I mean, I've cut a player who's now a professional player. Zach Farnsworth, he plays for RSL. He's an MLS player. I cut his ass when he was 12 because at the time he was thinking he was extremely entitled, and it affected everybody else. I cut him. Okay, sometimes you need to sell players to jolt the system.
Something needs to be done, Carlito, in January. Something needs to be done. I don't know what the solution is or any temporary fix for this season remaining, but we need something. And I can't tell you what it is right now. We can say sell Mount, sell Ziyech. I still feel we need players coming in, but who's going to come in? Who?
We're linked with tons of players.
I mean, look, realistically, Enzo Fernandez is a good signing. What KJ said about Thuram is spot on.
Yeah, Thuram is terrible. Do not.
That's
buy
what I'm
him.
saying. So that's why we need to make sure we sign the right players.
Yeah,
Fernandez, brilliant signing. Brilliant.
Okay, I'll tell you 3 names then. Enzo Fernandez is great. Mudryk is great, and the other one is the right back for Celtic, Juranovic. Yeah, those are 3 players right there that would drastically improve our team, and in positions where we need the most surgery.
Do you honestly want Mudryk?
Yes, he's fabulous.
Even if the guy wants Arsenal,
I don't care. I see. I don't buy that.
But does he want Arsenal? Because
he does. The
He's
guy
al-
put on an
he's also-
Instagram story, bro. This
No, but
twerking, bro.
but there was even something that was put out. He was asked whether he preferred Real Madrid or Arsenal, and he said, "I would I would prefer to play for Real Madrid, but the only thing is that Arsenal would get more game time." So he's not really that interested in
Yeah,
Arsenal. because
see,
he's
I don't
already
buy that. Yeah,
he's already
I'm with you,
he's
Matt.
already playing for he's already got Real Madrid in his head. So I don't think much is going to change him. If he gets game time at Chelsea, there is no connection between him and Arsenal. Arsenal were just the first ones linked.
Yeah,
Well,
they're the girl that's showing interest.
Yeah.
Right?
True. But the way he was twerking just annoyed me, innit? I mean, it reminded me of Rafinha, you know?
Yeah, but this
I mean,
is
to
what
be
young
honest,
players do, man.
Yeah,
This is
but,
what young players do.
if I'm honest, anyone's going to twerk to try and get out of the Ukrainian league.
Yeah, he's probably very grateful.
I was watching some of his highlights, and there was this one where he put in a pass with someone, I think it was in the Celtic game, and he just missed an open goal from like 3-4 yards out. I think he's looking and going, "No, thanks. I'm going to do my stuff elsewhere because these guys are a bunch of wankers that are just shit."
Yeah.
well, I
he's
actually heard
really
he's
good.
interested in Chelsea.
Dude, yeah, we're linked with him.
We are
There
linked
was,
to him, 100%. We are linked to him.
There was I watched a stream the other day, League Gunner stream, I think it was, and he was talking about how Arsenal were really interested in him, and he was interested in going there too, but he heard apparently his head has been turned by Chelsea interest.
Yeah, I mean, David Ornstein said Chelsea are on alert. If Arsenal don't go out and put the bid in, obviously it's a lot of money for someone in the Ukrainian league. We need to be careful with this as well, by the way. These fees are just crazy.
Yeah, but Sadiq, when Real Madrid paid 72 million for a 16-year-old, that's what happens.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, worrying times, man. Worrying times. I don't know what has happened to this team, guys. I expect. Look, I won't be disappointed if a couple losses. We tried, against City in the home game, cool. But this game, yeah, Alfred, I didn't even know it was 3-0 because I was driving. Like, have you seen the scoreline? I was like, Matt's texting me. Yeah, are you gonna be on a stream? Blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, and I'm messaging you guys saying, yeah, let's be on a stream. And then Alfred's like, have you seen the scoreline? I was like, what? Like, oh man, that was the worst thing ever. Man.
I had a feeling that you might not have seen him because I know you weren't around, you're home and things like that. And I was thinking, if this man knew the score, he probably wouldn't even want to stream anymore.
Yeah. No, listen, we had to get it out because you know what? I actually
Do you know what's funny? I was asking you for Arsenal tickets.
I know. I don't know why.
I just thought I had a 1% chance. I thought it's on the weekend of my birthday, so if the football gods and God was just watching anyway, it'd bring me the Arsenal game for my birthday. But it's done now.
Your homies. I got to dip, but before I dip, I want to just say shout out to Miss Melina. Obviously, she's starting a new job. Big ups to her. I hope you do well. Sadiq, shout out to you, bro. Main man, thank you for having me on the stream. And to everyone, please support this club, but don't support the players. They suck. Mount out. I'm gone.
Wow. Fair play.
Take care, KJ, man.
Fair play. Nippin, I kept KJ, take care, man. Nippin, I kept you muted because you was playing the video in the background and it's got a lot of background noise. So maybe you've taken it off now.
Yeah, I've taken it off. Is it better now?
No, I can still hear it. I'm gonna mute you again. Apologies. Guys, everyone like the video as always, man.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I think I know what it was. I forgot to mute the YouTube video in the other tab.
It's all good. Listen, I want a serious opinion on what you've seen today and the future. Otherwise, we'll have to kick you out.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Elaborate on that. Elaborate.
The performance out there was absolutely shocking. No fight.
What does this performance mean for you now, for the future?
That a lot of these players have to go.
Name me some players.
Aspie, great club legend. You've won it all with us, but it's time to go, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Jorginho, you were never a legend to begin with. You were just carried by.
Wow.
You were just carried.
Okay.
Let's have it
Okay.
right. Let's have it right. You were
Okay.
just carried by the better DM in N'Golo Kante. Get it.
Okay.
Mason Mount, don't get rid. Bench him. He's not a first team player.
Oh, so you want him as squad depth?
Yeah, squad depth
I
at best,
agree with that. I think that's
but,
still a good
but not
player.
first team quality. You know that.
But he wants a new contract. He wants a new contract, 300k.
No, you can go.
Nah. Either he
right.
look if
He
he.
doesn't deserve 300 quid at the moment, let alone 300 grand.
Precisely.
So how can we put on the bench then?
Yeah, hold bench.
How can he hold bench if he wants 300k a week? You're not going to put a 300k player on the bench.
Because he said, I would.
They give him.
I don't care about your salary. I care about your performance. I don't care if you're a commis chef or a sous chef. If you're outperforming, if a commis chef is outperforming the sous chef, they will get more responsibilities.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that you don't give him that contract, and if that's what he wants, but he's not happy to be a key player, and like if he doesn't want to understand that he needs to sit on the bench until he improves, or for the sake of the manager, at least needing to try something new, and try to work his way back into the team. See you later. Like Carlito has been saying, and everybody's been saying this stream, we need to do drastic things. So the first thing would be, a first very important thing to do would be to get rid of players who don't want to be here for whatever reason. So
I agree with you, yeah, but Nippon only named 3 man. I was expecting way more players.
Nah, I haven't finished yet. People,
we didn't let him finish.
I have not finished.
Go on, let me hear more players. Go on.
And who else? Ziyech doesn't want to be here. Get rid. I don't want a player that doesn't want to be here. Go to Milan. Go anywhere else for all I care. I wish you the best of luck. But if you don't want to be here, we don't want you here either. Who else? Oh yeah, Havertz. I don't know if you want to.
Oh, you just think you haven't seen what the wannabe Maradona wanted to do?
What do you mean?
He did the worst impression of Maradona in the world.
What, the handball?
Did you see the handball? Where he literally just punched the ball.
What, into the goal?
Yeah,
No, he punched the ball in the middle of the Chelsea box. That was the penalty.
the first one. Yeah.
I mean, one of the Man City players was going to head it, and he's just punched it. Absolute embarrassing. If I was Potter at that moment, you're getting subbed off straight away. You're getting yeeted out of this club now.
No way.
This Champions League winner, one moment, he's living off one moment. It's embarrassing. Get him out the club. I mean, I'm going to list.
You know who he reminds me of? You know who he reminds me of?
Morata.
No.
Who?
A fellow countryman of his.
Werner. Who?
Older.
Muller.
Younger.
Goetze.
Yeah, he reminds me of Mario Götze.
Oh, Mario Götze shit to over Havertz. Mario Götze is
Why
twice
did you
the
go
player
Götze
Havertz is.
though? How do you go?
Götze is living off that World Cup moment. You know when he scored in the final versus Argentina?
Bro, he's living off like Arsenal this season. Just
Yeah.
one-off season, man.
Anyway, Nippin's taken too long with his list, so I'm just going to list the players.
Yeah, Nippon, you're too slow, man. You're too
So
slow.
Ziyech, bye-bye. World Cup form does not mean you stay in this squad, and people are idiotic to think about that. Havertz, generational fucking player.
Millions.
I want a fucking generational refund for that. Fucking idiot. Mason Mount, glue, who makes 7 passes in the game. That's right. Gone. Gallagher, there's a thing called possession, you know? It's a thing where you keep the ball, you pass it to someone else, not just lose it every 5 minutes. So he can go back to Palace if he wants. Jorginho, you've been the heart of the disease. You have been the heart disease that has caused this club to sink. And you've been right in the middle of it. You've been that main guy in the aorta that's ruined this whole team. Azpilicueta, time for you to retire. Go to your retirement home in Spain. Thanks for what you did, but you're not Chelsea level. Kepa, not good enough. Not good enough goalkeeper.
Really?
Mendy, not good enough goalkeeper. Need a new goalkeeper. Pulisic, go back to America and continue your only good career in being an author. And if you want, this is a caveat of if he wants to leave, because the rumours has been that he's looking for a new challenge. Kovacic, it's time to go.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, some players did survive. Pulisic survived.
No, I said Pulisic. If he can go and do his career and be an author and go back to America and be an author.
Cucurella survived.
I am giving all of the players in the summer a pass because I mean I don't think Cucurella's been. I think Cucurella is again one of these scapegoats. For example, the goal against Manchester City last time. Yes, that was terrible from him, but it should have never have got to that situation because Kepa should have made that save. Terrible. And this is one thing no one wants to talk about. The absolute piss poor positioning from Aspi to let the Man City player come in on that right hand side was unforgivable. So it should have never got to Cucurella. But Cucurella was moaned. People were moaning. But Cucurella was moaned at for being drifted past way too easily. But the same was happening to Lewis Hall today, but at times. But no one wanted to moan about that. But because it's Lewis Hall. But it's not the problem of Cucurella or Lewis Hall. The problem was because the midfield, it was effectively, as I said, 3 number 10s, too narrow, and no one was helping him. It was 2v1 at every time. And when you're 2v1, there's only so much you can do as a player, and you're going to get beat because whatever you do is a mistake. I don't blame Cucurella. I think he will get into it. Obviously, the price tag is something that people will talk about. Sterling, I think he's been decent enough this season. I don't get the hate on Sterling at all. He's got a good amount of goals and assists. He's our top goal scorer at the moment.
I agree.
And he's played with shit. Koulibaly is the one that I'm looking at and going, you need to improve because you are being very sloppy.
Matt, listen. I know you want to carry on about this. I need to understand your reaction to Minerals SC's tweet. Gaffer seems to have lost the dressing room. No belief, no fight, wrong lineup, no patterns of play, just a shambles. I refuse to accept we are this shit because we're not.
Yeah, as I replied to him, he is turning into the exact people that he moaned about. Rory, Tory Jennings, Nini, all them people that were making slide digs about Tuchel. He's now doing the exact same thing. So, Johnny, stop being. You've turned into a brown envelope. So, fuck you.
That's a big statement.
No, but this is the problem. You've got people who just want celebrity stuff. I don't care. I've got a much better job than this. I don't get paid to come on here. I just
hey, that's confidential. Hey,
I just come on here to speak for. I've got a valuable career outside of it. I do not need to be on here for clout like the wannabe Stone Island gangster that wants to come on and say Minerals, the glue. Oh, Mount is the glue to this team. Oh, Tuchel should have stayed, which I agree with. Tuchel should have stayed, but you're becoming the exact problem that you're moaning about. So stop being a hypocritical bald fraud and just shut up because your opinions are invalid and you're part of the problem. I guarantee you were one of them moronic fools that were going, Roman Abramovich. Fuck off about that. It's ridiculous. That doesn't help the players. Calling Thomas Tuchel chance is not helping the players. It's not helping the manager. It's not helping the team.
They're calling it during the game. They're calling it during the game and after the game. Thomas Tuchel chance.
It's moronic. And this is what if I was owner of Chelsea FC, every fan that chanted that who has a season ticket revoked, gone. You're not coming back in. It's ridiculous.
I think it's totalitarian of you, Matt.
If you're going to be ridiculous and chant for let's just say a potential war criminal to come back.
You don't believe that, man. No, you don't believe that. You don't believe that.
And you don't. You not think Ron Bowley has done anything shady in his past, dude?
we're not talking about what everyone's done shady.
Deflect. Don't deflect.
I don't think Bowley has ever been a war criminal.
Don't deflect. Do you not think Todd Bowley has funded the war in Iraq at some point in his?
Is there any proof of that?
Is there?
So you
Listen.
But
You know.
no billionaire is
But I'm going to mute this guy, man.
Nippin, if you found proof on that and presented that to me, I would say the exact same thing about Todd Bowley.
Listen,
But you can't.
forget that.
So
Forget
you're
that,
just
forget
making
that.
a baseless claim.
Matt, forget all that. Nippin's just in his own world. Let's just talk about this properly. You're saying the chanting about Tuchel, the people that said it, to get them revoked.
Yeah. I
Really?
just think they're worthless fans anyway.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking. Get some proper fans that actually want to support this
Come
team.
on, you don't believe that. Come on, you don't believe that.
And by the way,
Maybe you're annoyed and frustrated right now, but come on, you
No, but
can't believe that.
get some fans in that will actually support this team and are not entitled and privileged to the fact that, oh no, we lost a game. Oh no, we're in a precarious position. Therefore, we must back the old people. The exact person, Roman Abramovich, who hired a board that has caused us this problem in the first place. Everyone forgets that Roman and this board were the people at the end of his tenure that were the exact cause of this. They put us in this situation. Not Bowley, not Potter. They're just the ones at the end that are having to deal with the mess.
Bro.
No, it's these coked up fans or alcoholic, whatever, one of the two. Usually it's either coke or alcohol that causes these problems. It's these absolute drugged up.
Listen,
fans.
Matt, listen. Two things. I want to say to the match-going fans that said Sarri ball was worse than Potable. That's what I want to say first of all. Is absolute shocking. Second of all, when Lampard got sacked, people were singing Frank Lampard, Super Frankie Lampard. But I didn't really hear same energy, Matt.
I said the same under Sarri. I didn't like Sarri.
No, for Tuchel. When Tuchel came in, everyone singing Super Frankie Lampard.
I didn't like that either. I don't think it's right. I don't think I know, but I fundamentally don't think it's right to start calling about an ex-manager.
Bro, it's just a chant.
Manager. It's
It's just a
disrespectful. It's disrespectful
No, it's a
beyond
shit
all
chant.
belief.
It's not. It's just a chant, guys.
It is disrespectful.
no, Sadiq, chat for the fucking current manager. Show him encouragement.
They did. They chant during the game, and they chant about the ex-manager.
Where have you? Do you know? Is there a Potter chant that actually exists? No.
Yeah,
So no, there isn't. I've
There
never
is.
heard a Potter chant come
there
out
is.
in unison like that.
Away games, it's a Potter chant.
You don't hear it in unison like that.
Yeah, I'm saying away games only. There's a Potter chant. I can
That
sing
was
it
an
for you
away
if you
game,
want.
but they didn't hear that at all.
I heard it at half time.
You weren't even watching the game.
I watched the highlights, bro. I can sing it for you if you want.
You're not gonna hear a chant on the highlight.
I can sing it for you if you want.
I mean, yeah, you can make up
That's wrong,
a chant
Jimmy.
and sing it on the spot. But anyway, but my point is, you shouldn't chant about former managers. They're not here anymore.
That's right.
I
Again,
can understand a little bit that Frank Lampard is a club legend, so you'd want to chant that, but not in the moment. In the moment that it was chanted, I slagged it off on Twitter too. And I wasn't around. I wasn't around Twitter in the Sarri days. I wasn't around Twitter, but I didn't get Sarri personally. I didn't really agree with him being at the club, but I would not. I don't think you should. I think you could. I think you have a right to talk. Well, Udo, I'm not even going to try and mess up the second name. Thanks for your opinion. Now fuck off. But,
Hey, come on! Hey, come on!
Can I just make my point? Can I finish my point? So I just think it's fundamentally wrong. You can boo players. I think the players, after the game, you can happily boo the players. After the game, if you want to boo the manager, boo the board, that's fine. But in the game, you support the team to the very last whistle.
yes.
You cannot be doing these. What does chanting Roman Abramovich or Thomas Tuchel actually do apart from embarrass
It's just a
Potter?
chant. It's just a chant.
It's embarrassing.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
embarrassing.
It's just recognition of previous managers. We've done it for
Even
Conte.
Even the commentary was taking the piss out of us that we were chanting Roman Abramovich, Thomas Tuchel. That makes us a laughing stock more than we already are.
No, but the media always try and stir it up.
No, but don't you think the players look at that and go, the fans are behind what we're doing? Doesn't that galvanise the player to try and get this manager out even more? Well, you guys can all say I'm chatting shit.
Hey! I'm not taking any mad slander on this thing, by the way.
Go on, Ipin. Defend him. Go on, Ipin.
I'm not taking any slander for any of my colleagues.
Jeez.
Thank you,
We
Nicky.
have it, folks. Guys, honestly, I agree with Mel here, though, man. Look, I agree with this comment here. Look, read this. People have paid for train tickets to travel to Manchester on a Sunday to get battered 4-0. Obviously, they will do this, except for the last bit. I didn't say that bit, but I do want to make it clear. Fans that travel, especially away games, but there's no trains, by the way, Matt. Honestly, the trains, you know how the trains are right now. It's absolute shocking, okay? They have a right. Like, if I was there, I'll probably sing it myself.
They have a right.
Yes,
No,
yes, Alfred,
they
yes.
do. They do.
Don't know how
They
it
have
is.
a right
I'll tell you why.
after the game. After the game, they have a right.
After
During
the
the game, it's unacceptable.
After the game. So not
After
at
the game,
4-0.
yes.
Not at 4-0.
No, after the game, there is still 90 minutes. This you effectively, you as fans doing that is you giving up. So that tells the players, that's fine.
Are you saying at 4-0? Are you saying at 4-0 you had faith?
Keep going, supporting the team, and then after you can boo. Or half time. I can kind of get the booing. I still don't boo at half time, but full time, you're well in your right to display your displeasure with the game. But during the game, it does absolutely nothing for the game. It does absolutely nothing for the team's performance. All it does is make it more toxic, ruin it even more.
Sadiq, let me tell you something from the point of view of an international fan.
Let's hear this.
That cops a lot of abuse from those so-called fans.
Let's hear this.
That you are currently defending. Yeah, they want to sit there and they want to tell me every single day about how I'm not a real supporter because I live in another country. Yeah, I don't even go to games. Support my local team. I'm not a proper supporter. You're the ones in the stadium that don't even chant for your own fucking players and manager and stink up the entire atmosphere of Stamford Bridge every single week and give Chelsea Football Club one of the worst reputations of home support in the fucking history of any sport. So fuck yous, all right? Don't talk to me about being a proper supporter. I wake up at crazy ass hours of the morning to watch my club. Doesn't matter what game it is. And if I was at Stamford Bridge, I would fucking make more noise than all of them combined.
Alfred. Let me say a few things. Obviously, they're 100% wrong to say you're not a fan 100%. I respect, especially when you wake up at the worst times in the world, which I don't think I will do 24/7 personally. So I definitely respect you for that. But I do want to say one thing. The away fans for chanting is a million times better than at home games. And I'll tell you why. The home games, we're selling tickets to tourists. I'm telling you this now. I see it with my own eyes what's been happening. The West and East with family and traveling fans around the world that don't sing their hearts out for the atmosphere has affected. So you got the Matthew Harding and the shed behind the goal. Those are chanting, but it's not enough. And that's why the home fans, the atmosphere sounds like a library. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. But away fans, I can tell you now, I've been to away games, and the chanting, you can definitely hear it more than the actual home games.
Hang on, I assume that the club allocates tickets to season ticket holders and local supporters more than tourists and whatnot, and probably by a large margin, you would assume.
I believe, logically, you are 100% correct. But I think the last 2 years it hasn't been like that.
But can I say, when I've been to Stamford Bridge and I've experienced it, especially sitting in East and West stands,
That's the worst.
yeah, no, can I say it? It's not the tourist fans that are there. Are tourists and tourist fans are the problem, because some, especially some that have come to the UK and don't understand English, obviously, for a legitimate reason, that makes them chanting harder because they do not understand the language properly. But I'd say the majority of the problem is a lot of old people that just sit down, don't want us to chant. I think
That as well.
creates a
Okay,
bad
cool.
atmosphere. That is,
That
I
as
think,
well.
the biggest problem. Tourist fans probably second, and then
But-
I think what I think needs to happen is in the home games specifically is obviously the Matthew Hard and the Shed generally sing, but there are people
Yeah,
that still sit
yeah.
there and don't sing.
I usually
There needs to be
sit there
there
and
needs to be
sit quite
targeted
loud.
sections, just like Arsenal have done, to make an atmosphere, because that brings noise at least from part of the stand, and they can sing together. Because the problem is Matthew Hard and the Shed don't sing in unison.
That is true, but then
Most
they
of the time.
sing. They sing saying basically they go West End, give us a song. West End, give us a song, and then no one sings.
Yeah, the most you get is a Chelsea.
Chelsea chant. Yeah, that's all. But look, I'm gonna leave, Matt. I don't know if you can stay, but you can stay if you want. I'm gonna end
No,
it.
I probably need to go as well.
Let's end it, people. Alfred, Nippin, Matt, thank you. Everyone in the comments, thank you. I don't think Matt will take it personal with what you guys said. I'm sure we're all frustrated. You guys like the video?
I can take it. Don't worry.
Yeah, guys, like
There
the
might
video
be
as
that
always.
frustration behind this.
Nippin, stay safe, stay well, stay healthy. Alfred, thank you for tuning in.
I need to speak to both you and Matt after the game, after the stream, by the way.
So what did you say?
I said I need to speak to both of you after the stream.
Oh no, we're in trouble, guys. Oh no, guys. Guys, like the video as always. Let's get at least 100 likes, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you very soon.
A quick
Peace.
thank you to the super chatters as well. Thank you very much as always.
Thank you, Alfred. Thank you. Big up Carlito and KJ and Sindri and Wayne that had come on as well. Take care, lot. Peace.